Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to this afternoon's meeting. Before we begin, I'd like for everyone to please take a moment and bow for a moment of silent reflection. Amen. Thank you. Mr. Minges.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners. Our next agenda meeting is scheduled, Commission business meeting is scheduled for Wednesday, January 29th, 2020 at 2 o'clock.
Very fine. Thank you.
On our supplemental agenda, our only item, docket number 2019-365E. This matter concerns the workshop that's been scheduled.
Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Whitfield.
Mr. Chairman, given the various concerns raised by some of the parties, I move that we cancel the workshop scheduled on January 27th, 2020. Instead of the workshop, interested parties are requested to file suggestions for the next steps in this process by that date. I so move, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. You've heard Commissioner Whitfield's motion. Are there questions or comments? Mr. Belcher, you have a question?
No, sir.
Sorry, I saw your light on. All right. If not, all in favor, please say aye. All opposed, no. Motion carries. Thank you.
Item number 1 on our utilities agenda, docket number 2009-26G. This matter concerns a gas agreement.
Mr. Chairman.
Commissioner Hamilton.
Mr. Chairman, I would move that we grant the request for approval of the agreement for transportation service with firm gas standby between Eaton Transportation and Eaton Incorporated and Dominion Energy, South Carolina. So move, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. You've heard Commissioner Hamilton's motion. Are there questions or comments? Not all in favor, please say aye. All opposed, no. And the motion carries. Thank you.
Item number 2, docket number 2020-17G. We have another gas agreement.
Mr. Chairman,
Commissioner Belzer.
I move that the Commission grant the request for approval of the service agreement for firm gas between Carolina Morning Firewood, LLC, and Dominion Energy, South Carolina, Incorporated. So move.
Thank you. You've heard Commissioner Belzer's motion. Are there questions or comments? Not all in favor, please say aye. All opposed, no. And the motion carries. Thank you.
Item number 3, docket number 2019-365E. We have a petition to intervene.
Mr. Chairman.
Commissioner Hamilton.
Mr. Chairman, I would move that we grant Duke Energy Carolinas, LLC and Duke Energy Progress, LLC their petition to intervene. So move, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. You've heard Commissioner Hamilton's motion. Are there questions or comments? If not all in favor, please say aye. All opposed, no. Motion carries. Thank you.
Item number 4, docket number 2011-158E. We have a request for confidential treatment.
Mr. Chairman.
Commissioner Irvin.
I move that we grant confidential treatment for Duke Energy Corporation's 2020 financing plan, as the company maintains that the financing plan contains market-sensitive, confidential, and proprietary information, the disclosure of which could impact their financing costs. So moved.
Thank you. You've heard Commissioner Irvin's motion. Are there questions or comments? Not all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no. Motion carries. Thank you.
Item number 5, docket number 2019-281S. We have a request for a public night hearing.
Mr. Chairman,
Commissioner Belzer.
I move that the Commission grant the request for a public hearing in Richland County that were filed by Marsha Weiss, Valerie Warner, Michael Williams, and Harvey Jones, and ask that the staff find a suitable location for the night hearing.
Thank you. You've heard Commissioner Belzer's motion. Questions or comments? Not all in favor, please say aye.
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 All opposed, no. And the motion carries. Thank you.
Item number 6, docket number 2019-64WS. CUC Incorporated has an application for a rate increase.
Mr. Chairman.
Commissioner Howard.
Chairman, docket number 2019-64-WS, CUC Incorporated seeks Commission's approval for an increase in rates and charges for the provision of water and sewer service in its service territory in and around Kalawasi Island, Spring Island, and Beaufort County, South Carolina. At the night hearing, several customers expressed concern regarding access fees charged by the company to the owners on unimproved lots. Also, several customers requested the company implement electronic billing and electronic payment to better accommodate part-time residents who have experienced delays in postal mail delivery. In response, the company has agreed to eliminate the access fees and implement electronic billing and electronic payment system. The Commission urged the company to implement these changes as soon as practical. The parties presented their case before the Commission at the hearing on December the 16th, 2019. Except there's only a few issues, most notable the operating margin and the impact of the Tax Cut and Jobs Act of 2017, the applicant agreed with ORS accounting adjustments. I move we accept the accounting adjustment proposed by ORS and except for the ORS adjustments on the Tax Credit and Job Act. Addressing the treatment of the effects of the Tax Cut and Job Act of 2017, I move we adopt the company's proposal to refund $33,508. The refund should be based on the actual tax reduction realized by the company when the action took effect. Therefore, the calculation of the refund should be based on the company's 2008 test year. The refund will not result in a rate decrement, and consequently, the Commission rejects regulatory staff's amortization of excess revenue adjustments, that's number 17. After accepting all accounting adjustments proposed by ORS and agreed to by the company, and calculating the refund of the tax benefit resulting from the Tax Cut and Jobs Act based on actual taxes during the test year, the Commission approved an increase in total operating revenue of $136,202. These accounting adjustments resulted in operating revenue of $1,421,146, net income of $177,786. The resulting operation margin is 12.51. The company is instructed to prepare a tariff consistent with these figures using the rate design agreed to by the company and ORS to be filed with the Commission. So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. You've heard Commissioner Howard's motion. Are there questions or comments?
Mr. Chairman,
Commissioner Belser.
and I would ask Commissioner Howard, I may have heard wrong, but may I propose a couple of friendly amendments to your motion?
Please.
With regard to the access fees, I think we understand that those are availability fees, and I would ask that access fee be changed to availability fee in that part. And I think with regard to the section on the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act, and I may have just misheard, but that the calculation of the refund should be based on the company's 2018 test year experience. I thought I heard you say 2008, and I think it's supposed to be
2018. If I say that's my mistake, it's 2018 test year.
I may have heard wrong too, so.
You probably did.
But I would just offer those as friendly amendments.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Accept those. No problem.
That's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Thank you, Commissioner Belser. Any other questions or comments? Okay. All in favor of Commissioner Howard's motion with the amendments accepted from Commissioner Belser, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no. And the motion carries. Thank you.
Item number 7, docket numbers 2019-224, 225, 226, and 227E. This matter concerns the workshop that's been scheduled.
Mr. Chairman,
Commissioner Whitfield.
Given the various concerns raised by some of the parties, I move that we cancel the workshop scheduled on January 30th, 2020. Instead of the workshop, interested parties are requested to file comments regarding the requirements for integrated resource plans by that date, along with suggestions for the next steps in this process.
Thank you, Commissioner Whitfield. You've heard Commissioner Whitfield's motion. Questions or comments?
Mr. Chairman,
Commissioner Belser.
I'd just like to say that I appreciate the parties' comments on this docket, and as well as I think it was item 1. I think these workshops were noticed as an attempt to gather information from the stakeholders, and I think they were scheduled with good intentions to share information, but I really do appreciate the parties' concerns and that they felt like they could point them out, and I encourage them to do that. And just out of abundance of caution, I agree with the motion, but do appreciate the parties' comments on these 2 workshops. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments? Not all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no. Motion carries. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, that concludes our utilities agenda. Turning to our transportation agenda, items number 1 through 7 are new applications that can be taken together. Item 1, docket 2020-18T, is Palmetto Transport Service, LLC. Item 2, docket 2020-19T, Wings of Eagle Transportation Corporation, LLC. Item 3, docket 2020-22T, Black River Medical Transport, LLC. Item 4, docket 2020-24T, Elite Transportation Service, LLC. Item 5, docket 2019-335T, Affordable Movers, SC, LLC. Item 6, docket 2019-336T, Elite Movers, LLC. And item number 7, docket 2019-342T, MLCB Incorporated.
Mr. Chairman.
Commissioner Hamilton.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we approve the new applications as identified by Mr. Menges in items 1 through 7. So moved, sir.
Thank you. You've heard Commissioner Hamilton's motion. Are there questions or comments?
Mr. Chairman,
Commissioner Howard.
item number 6 and 7, I will not be voting. I wasn't present.
Okay. So, should we do 1 through 5 first so that, well, in items 1 through 5, all in favor, please say aye. Aye. And all opposed, no. Okay, and those pass. Items 6 and 7, all in favor, please say aye. Aye. All opposed, no. And those motions carry. They are granted. Thank you. Thank you, Commissioner Howard.
Item number 8, staff proposes carrying this item over. Item number 9, docket number 2017-264T, we have a request for a name change.
Commissioner Howard.
Chairman, I move we grant the request of Roy L. Williams, DBA Academy Transportation, to amend Class C non-emergency certificate. That number is 9319, and to read Academy Transportation, LLC. So move, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. You've heard Commissioner Howard's motion. Are there questions or comments? If not, all in favor, please say aye. Aye. All opposed, no. And the motion carries. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, we have an administrative item today. Item number 1, our Chief Clerk Jocelyn Boyd will be making a presentation about our draft ex parte communications policy.
Thank you. Welcome, Ms. Boyd.
Mr. Chairman, members of the commission, staff is in the process of working on a draft ex parte communications policy that would apply to the employees.
Wait a minute. I don't think they can hear you through live stream. So
okay. Can you hear me now? Okay. So we're working on a draft. When I say we, right now it's one of our employees, staff attorney Joanne Wessinger Hill, is working with me and on creating a policy, an ex parte communications policy that would apply to all of the employees at the Public Service Commission. And I just wanted to provide the commissioners today with some highlights of the draft policy that will be presented to you next week. And then next, I will provide you with a proposed schedule that will hopefully lead to the implementation of a policy. So, Mr. Chairman, two of the statutes that are applicable as it relates to this policy are sections 58.3-260 and then 58-3-30, specifically section B. And I'll start with the latter first, on section 58-3-30, which basically informs us, as we already know, I shouldn't say informs us, reminds us that commissioners and commission employees are bound by the Code of Judicial Conduct as contained in Rule 501 of the South Carolina Appellate Court Rules. And it says, except as provided in 58-3-260. And that's, we now call that internally, often you'll hear that referred to as the ex parte communication statute. So that's our governing authority, and that's what we will use. That statute continues by also stating we're all bound by the State Ethics Commission, State Ethics Act, excuse me, not the State Ethics Commission. The State Ethics Commission has jurisdiction over this agency, but that we're also bound by the State Ethics Act. Specifically Chapter 13, Title 8. Then if we move over to statute, South Carolina Code 58-3-260, of course, it begins with definitions and how we are to not participate in ex parte communications, what's considered exempt, for example, our allowable ex parte communication briefings, and then there's some other provisions that we all abide by. So our policy, of course, will be in alignment with those statutes. Just wanted to point that out. Next, so let's say that we think that we're in receipt of someone as an employee of the commission is in receipt of an ex parte communication. What tools can we use to make sure that we appropriately provide that information to parties in a docket or the representatives of those parties? So the policy you will find next week will stress email all the parties in the docket. Oftentimes, though, not oftentimes, sometimes a party might represent himself or herself pro se before the commission and may or may not have an email address. So we wanted to provide some other tools so that the means by which everyone who's represented in a docket receives that communication the same way. I have talked to our live stream administrator, Ms. Purvis, and she has agreed if everyone does not have an email address, that she's willing to use video recording to record whatever message we have as staff, and then we can post that message just like we do our live stream videos on our website. Put a link in the DMS and then point everybody to our website to watch that video. The other alternative is to, should she not be available and we just need one way of communicating so everyone receives the same message. If everyone in the docket does not have an email, and sometimes that happens, sometimes we might have a person who does not use email. It happens. So we want to make provision for everybody to receive the same message. Audio recording is the other option, where we can record it and then provide that audio recording to the parties. So we wanted to provide more than one tool, as I said, to make sure that everyone receives the same message. Okay. Next, another highlight would be time frame to report communications. You'll find in section 58-3-260 the word promptly used, and Ms. Wessinger-Hill, in her discussions with me, appropriately pointed out what does that mean. So we want to provide a more definitive time for everyone to successfully or report that communication that they received. An example might be within 24 hours of receipt that the communication needs to be reported to other parties in a docket. Finally, we are going to propose a communications policy team. And that team will consist of one commissioner, the chief clerk, 2 staff attorneys, and 1 non-lawyer employee. And the purpose for this team is if an employee is unsure of whether or not a communication that he or she received is considered or would be considered an ex parte communication, this team would, which is why it would consist of 5 people, just in case someone is not available. That's, I think, the number that we have here, and the content of the members of the team would hopefully be sufficient that the employee would find at least one of those persons, and then the team can talk. I'm sure that I feel like the team approach is better than just pinpointing one person to make a decision, because perception by one person might not be the perception of another person. So we want to provide, I think, adequate review from a diverse team. And I think that would accomplish that. So moving on to the next slide. So what's the proposed schedule? The proposed schedule will be next week. Ms. Attorney Joanne Wessinger and I will present to you our draft policy during the commission business meeting, and that we would request at that time that the commission issue the policy for any written public comment. February 12th, written comments regarding that draft proposed policy would be filed with the commission, and then we would request your consideration during the meeting on February 19th. We would request that you make whatever amendments you want to make, vote on it, and then issue it as the agency's ex parte communications policy. That's all I have right now.
Thank you, Ms. Boyd. We'll look forward to getting that report next week and fleshed out, and so we'll be able to have something to look at and move forward with this. And I appreciate the hard work that y'all have done on this. So.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Chairman,
Commissioner Belser.
if I may, thank you, Ms. Boyd. I
Yes, sir.
appreciate
Yes, ma'am.
the presentation.
Yes, ma'am.
But I just want to make clear that this policy that is being drafted and proposed, that's for internal PSC, for use to provide guidance to all of us here on how to proceed should we be aware of an ex parte communication. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. It's totally internal.
This is totally internal. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Mr. Chairman,
Should you be
Yes, sir.
aware or should you be in question of, is I think the way she explained it, Commissioner Belser. Right, not that something's occurred, but that you were in question of it.
Commissioner Irvin.
thank you. I have a suggestion too, and you were talking about, you and Ms. Wessinger are going to work up a definition of prompt. Keep in mind, of course, that if a staff member received an email on the day before a state holiday, let's say it received July 3rd, the commission office would be closed the following day. It also could go over a weekend if you got one on a Friday. So I would encourage you to consider, if you're going to say 24 hours excluding state holidays and weekends, or expand the time, because prompt, of course, depends on the work schedule, and that also depends on having a staff to make the communication to all parties.
Yes, sir.
As you know, many times there are multiple parties
Right.
that have to be notified.
Yes, sir.
Just a suggestion.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Very good. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Any other questions or comments? Sorry, I forgot to ask Randy. Okay. All right. I appreciate it. Thank you, Ms. Boyd.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Okay, is anything else to come before us? Okay, we have nothing else to come before us. We do have rule to show cause after this, so we'll take a few minutes to get reset, and then we will continue with that. So there's nothing else. We are adjourned.